When one thinks of the old New York to Chicago rail lines, first coming to mind in most people's thoughts would probably be the Pennsylvania and New York Central Railroads, although not necessarily in that order. Another line tied those huge cities together and was sandwiched between the giant Central on the north and Pennsy on the south. Originally built as a broad-gauge railway in the mid-19th century, the Erie Railroad survived as a high-speed bridge line with a physical plant capable of moving the oversized loads its competition was physically unable to do. Tough times hit the Eastern railroads in the late 1950s and 60s, and on October 17, 1960, another Eastern line, the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western, officially merged with the Erie to form the Erie-Lackawanna. The new EL, backed by a Norfolk and Western wholly owned holding company, modernized its locomotive fleet in right-of-way, and although saddled with huge losses due to its commuter and passenger operations, managed to crawl its way out of the red ink. The June 21, 1972 onslaught of Hurricane Agnes flooded 135 miles of EL trackage in Pennsylvania and New York, and was considered the catalyst in the roads filing for bankruptcy protection shortly thereafter. Under the guidance of a trusteeship, much belt-tightening, including the abandonment of some lines and the single tracking of some others, managed to keep the EL as a separate entity for a few years. But finally, on April 1, 1976, the ghost was given up and the Erie-Lackawanna was forced to join Conrail, thus assuring the disappearance of the EL diamond for good. The changes brought about by Conrail meant the end of most Erie-Lackawanna rails west of New York State. But action by the New York State Legislature forced Conrail to give up abandonment plans on the old Erie trackage between Buffalo and Port Jervis, the Southern Tier Line. The Southern Tier Line survives into 1988, and as a matter of fact is quite heavily traveled by Conrail and under trackage rights the Delaware and Hudson and the New York Susquehanna and Western. Herein, we'll be presenting 1988 diesel action on the Tier, but first we'll examine earlier diesels of prior years and no longer existent roads. A pair of GP7 still lettered Erie sometime soon after the merger. An Alco FA-BBA set brings a freight by. Four EMD-F units, an F3A, F7B, F7B, and F3, and on a parallel track, two GP9s. Next up, an Alco EMD lash-up, an FA, FB, F7B, and an F3A. The next three scenes show Alco PAs powering passenger trains. An EMD E8A coupled to two Alco PAs slip by a shop building, followed by a set led by another PA. EMD SW1200 switcher number 460 rolls onto a turntable. This slug appears to be a cut-down Baldwin unit, while number 460 is an electromotive SW1200. A trio of GP35s lead a freight by. Seven units, in order, a GEU 33C, EMD GP35 and F7B, Alco C424, EMD GP35, another C24, and a GEU 25B. Five Alco RS3s team up. Alco C425 number 2452 leads an F7B and a Delaware and Hudson U33C. Coming up, another 5-unit RS3 set. RS3 number 919 eases a covered hopper and a caboose to a stop. An F7A leads an Alco FB, F3B, and another F7A. A GP9 on a caboose hop. An F3A with two F7Bs and an F7A. An RS3 powered local freight. An F7A, two F7Bs, and an F3A. Next, we roll by an Alco FA headed freight. Slowly easing by is an Alco FA and FB with an EMD F7B. Starting up here is a trio of Alco C424s. Lackawanna SW8 number 363 slips by with a work train. Four EMD GP7s ease by. Another RS3 caboose hop. This freight is powered by a pair of SD-45s. A Central of New Jersey SD-40 leads an Erie Lackawanna SD-45 and an SD-45-2. An RS-3, U-25B, F-7B, and another U-25B back this train across a diamond. An SD-45 local passes. A Great Northern Big Sky Blue GP30 leads an EL SD-45. Three E8As on freight service. Next, we roll by three Fairbanks Morse trainmasters. A U-25B and two GP35s ease through a yard, followed by an SW-1200 pushed business car. Two F-7As and an F-7B join a GP35 to power another freight. This diesel team consists of two C424s, two RS3s, and an F3B. Alco RS2, number 905, leads a local. Another RS2, number 912, on a similar local. A trio of E8s on the Phoebe Snow. Three E8As head up this train. Two more E8As. A GP9 leads a pair of E8As. And closing out this former times portion of the show, another E8A-led passenger train slips by in a scene with autumn colors and winter snow. June of 1988 found Guilford still operating the Delaware and Hudson, and we'll first catch an eastbound over this unusual truss bridge outside of Southport, New York. Boston and Maine GP 40, number 339, leads Delaware and Hudson GP 39-2, number 374, Springfield Terminal SD 45 684, and B&M GP 40, number 323. Continuing east near Smithborough. And again, approaching Endicott. One final view of this eastbound coming up, crossing the deck girder bridge over the Shenango River in Binghamton. A couple miles west of Owego, 3 Springfield Terminal SD-26s, numbers 645, 627, and 437, power and eastbound. Just past Tioga Center, a Guilford D&H stack train rolls west powered by a trio of Susquehanna units, SD-45s number 3612, 6542, and 6500. Guilford bowed out of the D&H in mid-June, and our last look at the Big G sees the westbound stacker continuing on after passing through Chemung. The New York, Susquehanna, and Western has been appointed operator of the Delaware and Hudson, and here at Binghamton, a westbound creeps out onto the main line for the run to Buffalo. Yellow Jacket Susquehanna SD 45, number 3612, leads a former Southern High Hood SD 45, number 3144, and green Susquehanna SD 45, 6515. Leaving Binghamton, the westbound passes through Johnson City. High on a hillside above the Chemung River at Wellsburg, where NYS&W SD 453620, Chessie GP 306635, and a pair of National Rail Leasing F45s, number 6635 and 6642, head up an eastbound grain train. Rolling on into Waverly. And continuing past the semaphores at Tioga Center's Ayers Road. A Conrail GP38-2 and a GP40 switch Binghamton Yard while the grain train creeps by. merchants flock to a free meal of scattered grain on top of the covered hoppers. We're now just west of Waverly, where an eastbound freight crosses the Chemung River, powered by Delaware and Hudson GP 39-2, number 383, CSX GP 40-2, number 6579, and NRL SD 45, number 6436. The eastbound continues on past Johnson City. Norfolk Southern C39-8, number 8560, Seaboard System B23-7, number 3292, B&O GP 40, number 6577, and Chessie GP 40-2, number 6842, head up the westbound Sealand stack train approaching Binghamton Yard. The Sealand stacker speeds into Owego and then on over the bridge near Wellsburg. Finishing up the Susquehanna-operated D&H portion of this show, we see the westbound Hanjin stack train soon after passing through Hornell. The railroaders affectionately refer to this train as the hand job. We'll now take a look at the Susquehanna operating as itself. Their Binghamton Yard this day contained some interesting equipment, including a pair of Alco RS-1s, numbers 252 and 238, a Susquehanna passenger car, Alco C420, number 2010, and Boston and Maine GP9, number 1719. C420, number 2010, pulls a local out at Shenango Forks. Stepping over to Utica and back to the past, Erie-Lackawanna GP9 number 1279 switches a brewery with the tracks running down the middle of Schuyler Street. The famous Staruka Viaduct at Lanesboro, Pennsylvania, carries a westbound Susquehanna stack train. The power team consists of 4 SD45s, numbers 3612, 3622, 6542, and 6500, and we'll chase this train back into Binghamton. Back at Binghamton Susquehanna Yard, C420 number 2010, SD45 number 6360, and GP20 number 1804 roll to a stop while SD45 3622 comes by. 3622 joins up with SD45 number 6361 and F45 number 3638, seen here on De Vere Street Yard's Buffalo Runner. Chase this train east down the Delaware Valley, starting at Sturruca and all the way back to Laxawaxen. But first, we're once again going back in time a bit, and we'll see some past action at and near Sturruca. An Erie Lackawanna SD45 leads a pair of SDP45s. Delaware and Hudson U-30Cs roll north under Sturruca on no longer existing trackage. Crossing the viaduct are an Erie Lackawanna SD45 and GP35 powered eastbound, and an SD45, GP35, and U25B led westbound. .1988, and here comes our number 3622 headed stack and freight train. Continuing on at Hale Eddy. And along the banks of the Delaware east of Hancock. A wild turkey weather vane on top of this old station is symbolic of the meaning of this town's name, Callicoon. The Laxawaxen River merges with the Delaware, and here we'll see the last of the eastbound. We're once more back at Sturruca, where this time we'll pick up another eastbound stack train, and the chase is on. SD-45s, an F-45, and a GP-38 power this train, seen near Hale Eddy. Once again, east of Hancock. And around the curve at Narrowsburg. Crossing the Laxo-Laxon River. At Mill Rift, night is approaching faster than the eastbound. We ran out of light before the train got to Port Jervis, but not to worry, we'll show you a scene here out of the past. An Erie-Lackawanna freight rolls by powered by an Alco C425 and two GE U-25Bs. Susquehanna E8 powered passenger trains are shown prior to the portion of this show covering the Southern Tier's present-day owner, Conrail. Staruka again, where stack train TV 400X heads east powered by a pair of SD-50s. Swinging west across the state, we're out along the Canisteo River near Cameron Mills, where we'll see SD40 number 6398 and SD60 number 6842 powering in eastbound. Soon crossing the deck girder over the Chemung River at Elmira will be a westbound led by SD40-2 number 6398 and C30-7 number 6608. Eastbound out of Binghamton, SD40-2 6520 and C39-8 6011. A westbound stock train out of Binghamton is powered by SD50 number 6700, SD40-2 number 6445, and SD40 number 6346. Easing through Binghamton, is a sulfuric acid tank train led by GP40 number 3196, GP40-2 number 3326, GP38-2 number 8087, and GP40 number 3052. Another brief look back in time, where we'll spot a pair of Erie-Lackawanna U-33Cs and then an EL SDP-45 lead lash-up. The old concrete Erie coaling tower west of Susquehanna is the setting, and soon after sunrise, GP40 3198, GP40-2 3403, and U-23B 2721 headed eastbound. We'll chase this train and catch her again at Hale Eddy, Hancock, and Callicoon. Conrail SD-60 number 6842, SD-40-2 number 6432, and SD-40 number 6387 power a westbound K-line stack train past Johnson City, and we'll follow this train all the way out to Letchworth State Park in this show's concluding segment. Continuing on near Waverly. One last historical view. Across the state line next to Waverly is Sayre, Pennsylvania. Here were the Lehigh Valley's facilities, and a trio of Conrail Red GP38s move out. The K-Line train rolls on west of Chemung. Approaching Corning. Speeding by near Rathbone. The spectacular high trestle over the Genesee River at Letchworth State Park sets the scene for our finale.